is a book over, a little book club where we talk about books. I'm Sarah, with me is Megan.
Hi.
And with us is Bree, also known as Mountie Girl.
Hello.
I love Bree's Instagram, so we're gonna have a link to show you all her stuff because she does awesome Hannaford Prep edits and
Mood boards for life.
And
They're amazing. They're perfect. They really are.
Yes. And so today's episode is Hannaford Prep. Yay!
One, like, I think everyone here's like favorite.
I think it's like the OG.
Oh yeah.
Of like obsession over a series for me. Reread.
Yeah, for like indie books, I think it's kind of like the go-to of perfection.
Agreed. I mean, I think when people say like, what's your favorite reverse harem, what's your favorite indie, you can't go on a thread and not see Hannaford listed by somebody.
It's recommended on every thread, like always.
Well, and for me, it's just this like go-to comfort read for me. Like, it's like if I like something's going on in life and I'm like, I just need to feel like I need that, like, pump me up, like, you can do this. I'm going to read Lips, or like I'm feeling down. Hey, guess what? I'm going to do this because like she got through it. Like, it's just like, and now I'm to the point where like, I know what chapter I want to read, what book I want to read.
Exactly. Yeah. I know which scenes like I want to start with. Like I can kind of like skip around and pick. I mean, Lips is just like, she's queen.
She is. And it's just like, and then even the audiobooks, like Vanessa, the narrator, is amazing too. So sometimes I'm like, I just need to listen to the audio of this scene, and it's just like, it's so nice to do that. Like the other day, I think we talked about this, Megan, like back like on my birthday, I wanted to listen to Ash do dirty talk to Lips on her birthday, and so that's what I did. I'm like, I'm just gonna lay in bed and listen to this.
Yeah, it's so good.
Oh my goodness. So I have to say, yeah.
It's the best. I mean, what other series can like make you want French toast and sprinkles on the holidays? Like when like it becomes a tradition in your household, that's like
it's like a whole personality trait. I think like every like the cherry ice cream, like the like now do I even eat French toast without sprinkles? I didn't even like French toast before this. But I'm convinced now.
I didn't eat it much either. I'm vegan, so it's not like super accessible, but I found out that Burger King French toast sticks are vegan, so
that's exciting.
So
just helpful. Take them home, throw some sprinkles on them, lots of syrup, lots of whipped cream.
Yeah, there you go. So
yeah,
I've always liked cherry ice cream though, so
yeah, I didn't like cherry ice cream either. I didn't like coffee either. Like I just was like trying all these things because I'm like, I didn't like coffee before this. Like I just wanted to be Lips, so I just kind of like took on all her favorite foods.
When I first read it, I don't think I was a coffee drinker either, but it's not why I started coffee, but there are days where like I'm pouring the coffee throughout the day and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm Lips and Avery right now. Like this I'm like, let's plot here. Where's the coffee?
I made a cup that said dictator and power.
I love it.
Oh my gosh. One of my favorite quotes, dictator and power is the best.
So good. Okay. So what we're going to do is, because it is a 4, 5-ish book, depending on how you want to cover Make Your Move and Make My Move. We're going to try very hard to go book by book so we don't miss. We're going to miss stuff. We're going to miss it because there's just so much that happens. And we were talking about our highlights, and we highlight things like inner thoughts that we thought were funny. So this is our summary take on the series.
Takeaway.
Yeah, it's a lot. Like there's just so many things. Like I don't think anyone could cover it all, like even in several hours.
Yeah. No, I don't, and we'll never, you can't do this series justice, a review, anything, like you just can't. It's
I know. I think it's okay if we review like any of these books and just say I loved it. It would be fine.
It's extraordinary, and I have no words.
Yeah, mine were literally like obsessed.
Yeah,
that was it.
I think I'm the type that goes a little too in depth, I think, and rambles a bit, so who knows.
I know I rambled until I got to the word count because I couldn't put it into words.
Yeah, very fair.
I think that was mine. I think my big thing, because of being when I read it, I had like babies.
Mhm.
So I was like, I read this series in so many days and I have an infant. That tells you how much I loved it. Like,
Exactly.
like in mom words, read this book if you can.
Question for everyone: when at what point did you read it? Did you read it when the whole series was out? Did you read it as it was coming out?
I think I read the first one right before Play the Game came out, because I remember having to wait a few weeks. It was like a few weeks. Like I remember like reading Play the Game on release day. So like I read the first two and then waited a few weeks and then kept on.
That's literally how I read it too.
I don't know. Like, I don't know if it like blew up right before Play the Game, or like, I don't even remember how I found it. I just remember being obsessed with it.
I saw someone recommend it in CM's group. I think
that might have been it.
Yeah, they were like recommend. It was like Havoc and Hannaford were kind of recommended hand in hand, and that's what it was for me. What about you, Sarah?
It was all the way out.
Oh, nice. So
I didn't want to read it. I didn't like the covers at first, and I was judging the book. So I was just looking on like Kindle Unlimited, and I kept seeing the covers pop up, and I was like, I'm like, I don't understand this diamond on the cover. And then I would read the thing and it would like talk about a jackal on the blurb. And I'm like, what? This is weird. And so I didn't read it. And then finally, like I had nothing to read. And I was like, okay, you know what? This keeps popping up. Just read it. And like within the first like few pages, I was like, okay, yeah, we're doing this. Like, and so I was able to just go one book after another.
Yeah.
Has your mind changed on the covers?
Yeah, for the most part, yeah. I don't agree with some of the character representation.
Overall, I love the diamonds. I think the covers are pretty.
I love the diamonds now. It's just when you don't know what the diamonds mean.
Yeah, and I think I
just don't get it.
Yeah, and I like simpler covers, like the white and black and red. Like I felt like that was kind of like, because I don't really like the covers that have a lot going on. And I felt like these were more simple in terms of that. So I think that's probably, I judge a book by a cover super hard. So
yeah, I mean, my favorite I think is the first one.
Oh, my favorite's the first one. The what? How do you pronounce an omnibus? Omnibus.
That one. I love that one. I don't have that.
The best. That with the blood splatters and I think that cover is perfect. Yeah, I love that one so much.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so I learned my lesson to not fully judge on the blurb and the cover, because now like I mean obviously I love the series.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So
okay.
Good.
So good.
Here we go. Are you ready? Okay, so book one is Just Drop Out. And here, I'll summarize it if I can do it in like 2 sentences. Okay. This is where we meet Lips, Avery, Harley, Blaze, and Ash. Not in that order. I'm like, do you want to know the order we meet them in? No, you don't need to know that. Okay. And then we start witnessing like just the mysteriousness of like who is Eclipse Anderson, and we get hints of like things going on with her a little bit. And this is like the one, I feel like this book's the one where we get the most like high school bullying going on in this one, which is mainly from Avery, and then her dealing with like the whole school, the bullying, and then kind of getting some of that, like I call it acquaintanceship. Not the right word, with like her and the guys too. Like they're not getting along and then they get along and they're kind of friends, but they're not friends.
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah, that's about it.
Okay. Yay, I did it.
Yeah. And what I like about it is the guys don't, it's a bully romance, but the guys aren't really bullying her. It's Avery bullying her.
Avery doing it in their honor.
Yes. Because she thinks she's defending them. And you know, at first it's almost like she's kind of almost trying to save Lips a little, because Joey, her evil brother, is interested, and you know, part of it is, you know, wanting to get her out of Joey's sights. Yes, a little bit. I mean, some of it's because she dissed her family, and that's just how Avery is. But I do think, like deep down, some of that was she was worried that she'd be another girl in Joey's crosshairs.
Yeah, and I don't think it was like a typical bully, whereas like they're like, oh, she's poor, ew. Like, I mean, like they made fun of her being poor, but it wasn't like her showing up poor was the only reason for everything happening.
Yeah, I think it was protecting themselves too. I think they knew that if she was sticking around, that there was going to be more of a problem. I think all the guys were instantly interested in her. And I think Avery also saw that as like, this can be a complication later on. Like, so not only is Joey going to be a problem, that's going to be a mess that Avery's going to have to clean up if Joey does something. But then they're seeing it as like, I'd rather her go. And I think one of them have an inner dialogue that's like, I'd rather her just leave. Like, or don't somebody say like, just go so we can like, save yourself, just go. Why are you
who
here?
is that says it? Is it Ash?
Because I feel like Harley said something at some point.
I think it was Harley.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think it was Harley, yeah.
And things Harley's would be better for you if you just left.
Yeah.
I think Harley, I don't think I know. Harley warms up to her the fastest. Like, I think book 1, Harley's in love. And that's another thing I love about like a good bully romance in the beginning, is when one of the guys is just really smitten with her. I mean, yes, he does do that prank. Like, I guess, it's kind of all in good fun because they're pranking each other over Christmas break.
Yeah, I don't feel like that was like the worst thing I've ever read as far as a bullying prank goes.
No, and I feel like that was more fun and games. We're bored. We're stuck here. We're the only two.
It was almost flirtation.
Yes.
Well, yeah, and then that's like her kiss too, like Harley's kiss with her, like, and that was like, yeah.
And he got so upset when she was like wearing the man sweater, and he thought there was a man in the room.
I know. I love it.
That's cool. And the necklace, she gets that like Harley's necklace for him, and I think that's when he falls.
So that's the thing, like, here's all this stuff happening to her. She's so strong. Lips is so strong, just like powering through life, and then like, here's these guys that aren't, they're not her friends, but then she sees like the necklace and she knows, she's like, wait, that's Harley's, like, I'm going to take it for him, so there's definitely like, that's what I like. It's like, this series is very slow burn, which like, I'm usually not like, slow burn irks me at some point. Like, I'm like, I need something, but like this one, like it does it right. Like, I love that when she like found his necklace and stuff. And I just love, well, and I love her, like, just inner, like, as she meets all these guys, and it's like, it's just like perfection, where like she sees Harley in the courthouse and she's like drawn to him, and then when she meets Avery and Ash in the school office, and she's like, who's this guy, he's gorgeous. And my favorite part, though, my absolute, out of this whole book, my favorite part is when she runs into Blaze and she's like, that's Blaze fucking Morrison.
That like I screamed. I'm pretty sure like I squealed with joy, because that was like, so like her little like mental like breakdown over like seeing her idol. I was like, and she's like such this like badass, but she was like getting giddy over Blaze Morrison. I loved it.
And then how she's like, I'm gonna have to learn how to like not look at him.
Like, look at like the tip of his nose or his ear or something, and she had like to desensitize herself like the same way she did with Harley, and I just thought that was like so cute. She can't look them in the face.
But then think about it, I would do the same thing. I would do that if I met some like hot rock star that I've idolized forever, who saved my life literally. I'd probably be the same way. I'd probably be like, I can't be in the same room with that person.
I'd probably start sobbing on sight. Like,
I've literally met singers that I'm not even that huge of fans of, and I like cried to them. So I can only imagine if like my favorite singer went to my school. I'd be the same way. That'd be so well. And that's such a great, balance too, because she's this, you get hints of it. We don't know at first. I mean, it starts off with her with the 12 and, a couple years where she is becoming the wolf. But we don't know all that at first. We don't, we get hints. So that's what's so brilliant about it. You're getting hints of this other world and the jackal and what's to come.
Well, so and Mateo, who is but she mentions Mateo sometimes, and you're like, you don't know.
You don't put 2 and 2 together until like much later.
Yeah. And so, but she has all these like very human, young girl reactions. Just yet she's this like badass. It's a perfect like dichotomy.
It's like believable. It's not like sometimes like they try to like pit 2 and 2 against each other, and I don't feel like you're like, yeah, that's not the same person. But like this, like I feel like she like meshed her 2 sides together so perfectly.
Yeah, I agree. And I think also the separation is done really well. And Jay Bree explains it, I think, later on in the series, so I won't get too into it, but the fact of separating the wolf from her and Hannaford, like why is she putting up with all this? Because she's trying to escape that life and she doesn't want to be the wolf there. And later on she like merges the two personas. But I think, Jay Bree consciously did it early on. I just it's just very well done.
Well,
And I just
I love it when the wolf comes out, like when she like broke the guy's fingers, like when now and then she has to, and then later in other books where she's like, there is like a part where like something happened and she looked at Avery because Avery knew and she was all like, that kind of disrespect needs to be dealt with, and I was like, yes, okay. And I'm like, are we ready to move on to that book?
Can I say one quick thing about book one? Because we were talking about this the other day, miscommunication tropes. And this has a little bit of that in there where, they just don't know that she's the wolf. So I don't know if that's miscommunication or just not like giving all of the story. But I think, Jay Bree does it kind of perfectly here, where it doesn't bother you. It's like, it's okay by the end that like she hasn't revealed that she's the wolf and part of the 12, because we don't even know all this stuff quite yet. Yeah. And she tells Avery enough by the end of the book. So I think, and again, Jay Bree has just done a great job with a hard trope. So
I agree. And I feel like there's so many hints too, though, like with all the characters the guys are going, like, what's up with her? Like there's more to her, like what's her upbringing? How does she know this person? Like there's wheels turning. So like us as readers are getting those like little snippets too, going like, this is interesting, like what's more? And then when we know more than them too, it's kind of cool. And like, yeah. And then in the next book, we get the reveal eventually.
Yeah, it's just it's great, the whole start of the book where it's, you get the high school bully romance mixed with this criminal underworld mafia gang. And and she's not, I think so many people try to make a strong female character only that, and like we said, like it's just very well balanced. So
yeah, I definitely agree.
Fantastic first book. Bullying can be really hard to read. And this was not hard. It
wasn't hard. And what I liked was the ending, how she like saves Avery from getting almost raped, right? And so at the end, Avery realizes, like they're like enemies. Like Avery's like horrible to her, but Lips is this person who's not going to let that happen to somebody. And so she saves her, and then Avery goes, like, if you do that to your enemy, what do you do for your friends? And then her Lips has like no friends that we know of yet, like what Illy's like her only.
Yeah.
And we don't
kind of Luca a little bit, but you don't know any of that yet. So it's like you think that there's this like friendless girl who's like having like this unwavering sense of loyalty for her enemies. Like it just really shows like how, I guess, great of a person she is, aside from the murders, but those are all okay.
Because they're justifiable murders.
Fine.
Yeah, totally agree. But I mean, the fact that I don't know, I can't remember because I've reread it so many times, if I saw it coming that her and Avery would become best friends.
I did not see that. I thought Avery was gonna like fade from the story entirely. Like I thought like the guys were gonna choose Lips over Avery. That's like I was fully convinced.
Yeah, I did. Avery was not my favorite. So when that happened, I was kind of like Ash, and I was like, wait, we're gonna just trust each other all of a sudden. Like I was not a big fan of Avery. It took me a while to
I thought she was gonna betray her for sure.
I can't remember what I thought. That just the testament to how many times I've reread it and how much I love Avery now. So that's interesting.
I was so cautious with her. Like I was just like, what do you like? I thought like this was like, because Avery's like a master manipulator, right? So I was like, but also Lips isn't stupid. So like I feel like she had to get like the sense that the vibes weren't bad, like I feel like it had to be something there, but I also was like still very cautious over Avery.
Yeah, I was cautious until I feel like make my move, the first chapter, I feel like the first scene we get, I understood more.
Yeah,
like already from that first scene of them down at the docks. together that I was like, I think I get it now. But like in the first book, it was hard for me at first to fully trust it.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I was team Lips. I was like, no one's gonna hurt Lips. Like, we're gonna protect her.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So Bree, do you have a summary?
So I wrote notes. Hopefully I don't read them too much. So like, as we just discussed, Lips and Avery, best friends now, like who would have thunk? And then like you start to see like in Make My Move / Make Your Move, like you're starting to see like all of the walls coming down. And I think that was my favorite part, is that Harley's already interested, Blaze kind of showing interest, Ash is like, no, like she needs to die. But yeah, so I think like you just start to see like one by one, like all of them cracking and falling like crazy for Lips.
I put down a note too that so Make Your Move is Lips POV, and then Make My Move was a special book that Jay Bree wrote that's the guy's POV. So of Make Your Move, and it's just so good. It's so good. And it's like I literally wrote in my notes, slow burn, pure torture.
I didn't think it was torture. I don't.
It was good torture. It was good torture because to me it was like Lips was being me. There were so many times in high school, now looking back, where I was like, that guy was flirting with me. That was like an invitation, and I didn't get it. So
she was so oblivious. She thought like they legit hated her guts still.
Yeah. So
she thought they were barely friends.
Yeah.
But they're like all like in love with her.
Yes. Because, and I love it because like there was so many times where she's like, he's looking at the ceiling again. Why? Like all those times where they're like, and she's like, what did I do this time to upset them? And it's like, you're not getting it,
Yeah. It's like we were like everyone else was in the dark, and like we were like, I feel like that was what was torturous about it. And it's like, shut up and kiss her already. Like, Harley, just make your move. Like, Blaze, just like tell her you like her. Like I think that was like another thing with the miscommunication trope. Like if they would have just been like, I like you, we would have all been okay.
But I liked how real it was with the group of friends. So if you're reading Make My Move, there were so many times where like they knew Harley liked her first. And so like Blaze was like, I'm gonna just step back. This is gonna be torture. She's my soul, she's my muse, but it's okay. I'm gonna step back because like my buddy likes her. And then Ash, once he finally came around, he was actually kind of like, no, fuck it, I'm going for it too, though. Like when he like decided, he was like, I'm gonna make it known too.
Yeah, he took so long to come around. I think that he just like he had to go like full send on it.
Yeah. But but what Avery was such a cock block. Like I get that she's protecting everybody, but there were so many times where she would like, one of them is like, don't upset her, or keep your hands to yourself. Where like I feel like if Avery would have just like laid back a little bit and let them have certain moments, I mean, obviously we wouldn't have the book. But if she would have like, she's just trying to be a good friend. But I just feel like there's so many times where like, if she just,
it was a little like misguided, I think. Yeah. Like she could have like, just like, and I think like she didn't want like the boys to ruin anything, and she didn't want Lips to get hurt. But it's like, if she would have just like taken a second to like ask any one of the guys, like, yo, do you like her for real? Or like, do you just want to like bang her? Like, I think it would have solved a lot of like that. But like, I mean, all those things, like, definitely, like, they make the series what it is. Like, we wouldn't have a series, but it's like, in real life, like, you're kind of like, you would just be like, hey, do you like her for real? Like, no biggie. Well,
I think Avery knew, though, that the jackal was possessive, and she didn't want her friend to get hurt. So if the jackal caught wind that, and as it happens, that she was like dating anybody else, it would endanger Lips and it would endanger the guys. So I think that was a factor, but I also think she was kind of protecting Lips in that she knew that Lips was a virgin, and the guys are like, these kind of like playboys, and Lips is just so I think she realized how oblivious Lips was, and she was kind of over exaggerating it. Like I don't think she was actually, I think we learned later too, I don't think she was actually that disgusted by like seeing them. I think she was just trying to be like protective.
And they knew Avery knew the boys were all scared of her, so it's like she kind of used that to her advantage and all of it.
Yeah, I did love when Avery finally talked to the guys and was like, what the hell's going on? I've never seen you guys fight like this, when they're like fighting over, because they're thinking that, you know, they're going to have to choose. And then when she realized that it was more than just like a quick hookup that they wanted, and she was like, oh, you know, like that. I loved when she just like finally turned it on and was like, I'll talk to Lips. I'll handle this for you. I'll get it together. But like back to like the miscommunication, like the whole Jackal thing was a huge miscommunication, this thing, because they don't know. The boys don't know. And then she kept saying, like, Lips keeps saying, I can't be with a Hannaford guy. And so she makes out with Harley, and she's like, I can't be with a Hannaford guy. She makes out with Blaze, and he makes that comment that makes her think that she overstepped. And then she said something, it's okay because the Hannaford guy. And then again with Ash, it's the same thing happened. So like,
and it's like she's not like giving any indication, like, because and nobody knows anything about her life back home. So it's like, you know, no one knows like why doesn't she want to like be with me? Like, so it's like, I don't know. I kind of wish the guys would have found out sooner.
The bet.
I like how it unfolded. It was such a great reveal. But yes, the bet was big too. Almost forgot about the bet where you know, it was like the first one to like bag the Mountie got money. So I think she was getting harassed all the time. And then there's Joey too, which we can't forget. Joey's just you know, crazy. And
but she puts Joey in his place, and everyone's like, how do you know the Jackal?
Yeah,
I loved that scene. I loved that scene. So like everyone, and they were like, who are you? And like, Harley, you should find out who she is, buddy.
Harley had his suspicions because he was the most connected to the Bay from his past. And then Ash just knew stuff from Senior, who again, I think, you know, they're trying to protect their loved ones from Joey and Senior. I think Blaze was probably the most oblivious, right? Like I don't think he had any idea who the wolf was.
And he was also, I feel like, the most sensitive to like her not liking him back.
I know, like how she didn't open his thank you gift, and it bothered him so much.
It made me so sad.
I love how that music. That was so sweet how they like the tutoring, like how they basically, I mean, book 2 is really them falling in love. I think that's what's kind of so special. It's them falling in love without sex and without actually dating. It's like they're falling in love just like in real life, like through tutoring or through just Harley like wanting to like, you know, protect her at the party
and sitting next to her in every class, like him like, you know, getting to know like the little tidbits slowly rather than just like because I feel like some books skip over a lot of that. Like it's kind of like 0 to 100 really fast.
This actually built relationships for all of the characters and
like as individuals, not like as a group.
Yes, exactly as individuals. And I think that's just so important.
Well, and I like
oh, go ahead. Sorry.
I was gonna say, I like that we also got that with Avery. So like, this is the book where I warmed up. As much as I was like, you're a cock blocker, Avery, I warmed up to her a lot because they had that truth game. So we got an Avery truth, we got a Lips truth, and we got that relationship where they trust each other to share those truths with just each other, and how Avery wouldn't tell the guys and how Lips wouldn't tell the guys. And so that really shows that friendship, because how many friends do we have that are really not going to share our secrets, you know?
Yeah. And I think like Avery, like that's what I liked about Avery the most. And I think because like usually when we get like a best friend in romance novels, especially reverse harems, like they like fall in the background. Like we don't keep the best friend around. Like they'll be mentioned like in passing, but it's like I liked that Avery stuck around and continued to be like a main character like throughout the rest of the series.
I totally agree. That's the thing. She wasn't a side character. It's honestly, she was another love interest. If you think about it, we fell in, it's kind of Sarah, like Sarah said, we kind of fell in love with Avery too. So it really is the found family. And I think that's why so many people say it's the ultimate like female friendship in books. Cause you're right. She doesn't fall to the side. She's the main character. So, I mean, most of my favorite quotes are like Avery involved in books.
Oh yeah. Well, so I was going to ask like some of our favorite scenes, because I have a few. Like I love Ash buying Lips underwear. I love there was like the photo, like I love when she reveals that she's the wolf and like Harley like blacks out for a second because like he's like in shock. you know, like I
And he
love
like looks under the table for the scar.
Yes.
trying to find the tattoo. Like,
Yeah. And like, and the burn scars. He's like, oh, he's like, my uncle like burned you.
Yeah.
oh yeah, sorry about that.
He's just so enamored with it. It's he like geeked out, kind of like her geeking out over Blaze being a rock star.
Yeah, because he like nobody knew who the wolf was. Like she was so like under the radar, so it's like he knew who the wolf was, but didn't like have any indication or clue that it was like this girl he's in love with. It was so, I loved it. It was so hilarious when he found out.
That was so great. Favorite scenes, I really liked a lot at the end when they're just like kind of shooting the, I guess I can say shooting the shit, shooting the ship, and like gosh, they were like by the like, you know, once it's all revealed that they like each other, they're gonna start, well, first of all, the scene where she's drugged up.
That was on my list as my favorite.
I love that so much.
I mean, and like Blaze carrying her to the toilet.
I love like Star, like how he found out her nickname, because I felt like that gave like Blaze something special. Like I feel like Harley and Ash, like Harley was just special. Ash kind of had a connection with Avery, but like Blaze, he needed kind of like his own secret with her. And I loved that it was like, because she's like so ashamed of her middle name, and I loved that it was like something that was so important to her, nobody ever knowing. Avery didn't even know her middle name.
Yeah. I love that.
I
love that so much. I love the ending too, where like Lips was like, I've been informed that there's going to be wooing.
Yes, that's one of my highlighted
like, what the fuck is wooing? And then like all of them are like,
yes.
wooing. And then like Ash, I love Ash though. Ash is like, let me set this straight. I'm not here to woo. I'm here for keeps. Like, yes.
That's what I have up right now. That's the quote that I had up, was the wooing. And yes, that's such a great scene.
Yeah, I love
secretly an 80 years old and thinks that wooing is a current terminology. That's Ash.
I love that so much. Yeah, that was like a highlight. And then like they were saying, like, I want us to keep you. I don't want you all to myself. I want to share.
Yeah, I want to share you with my. And I think that's what made this like reverse harem. Like, because some reverse harems, there's like even like I love Filthy Rich Boys, but it's like, how can these guys ever share? Like they've been in competition with each other for years. But it's like these guys, like they already had the bond. And I think that's probably why it's my top favorite reverse harem, is because like it clicks, you know, like it makes sense. Like it's not like outlandish that they could all like share her.
Right. Well, and there's even I think at the beginning of this book, there's inner dialogue, like at the very beginning with Lips. And she was saying how, you know, she wants the damaged rich boy Ash. She wants Lobster's son, and she wants the rock star. Like she says it very poetically, obviously not my words, but you know, like it was pretty early on in this book how she was like already saying like she wants all those things and she knows she can't have them and they are not interested in her and stuff. So it's like I have to say, I think this is my favorite. Make My Move and Make Your Move are like my like favorite, and I think it's just because that development of like the
I think I've reread those like in their entirety more times than the others for sure,
because the next ones get really intense.
Falling in love, it's the falling in love part. It's just reading a book about falling in, like, I mean it is just 3 different love stories really.
It's and it's like all the best parts of a book and all together.
And I do want to mention just one other scene that I love, where Lips is on stage and Blaze like finally hears her sing, and then that's when they all just like lose it. And they're like, they all need to declare their love.
I love how like they fight over sitting next to her, and he's like, no, you had your chance, like just because now you're like,
it was just like, it was so cute to like imagine them like just like that was like the defining moment for their like it was just, I love that scene too. Like I was like, that was like the one I was most excited for, like in Make My Move, like is to see like the boys like reactions more.
Right. And I was so curious as to who was going to get that POV. I thought it was going to be Blaze, but it was Ash. And
I was so shocked that it was Ash. But it was like, I feel like Blaze was the obvious choice. So like, it was kind of nice to have someone who wasn't the obvious choice.
Well, also to know that Ash loves Blaze's music so much. Like he's just as big of a fan of his advanced as Lips is, to find that out, and then to find out that like he loves her singing voice, and then later on where we find out how he's just like he can't wait to hear them both sing together.
I know.
I love it.
It's so sweet. And then I just have one other quote that I have to say that I loved it when like Ash walks in, I think like after like running, and they're all in the apartment, and he's like why are you two whispering in the closet, and they're like secret girl business, and they go, or he says, with the two of you, that could be anything from pairing the correct shoes with an outfit to plotting the murder of a filthy rich senator for your own gain.
Yeah.
And I think that's just so perfect for the series, because that's what it is. It's like picking out the right outfit or plotting
people's murders. I love Ash is like I think the funniest one. Like how many times he says suspicious and make like everything Lips says like suspicious. Like I just like I picture it in like a certain tone in my head, and I'm like,
I can see a look. I see this look on his face. I can't mimic it, but I just see this like look where he's just like, there it is. There's the suspicion. Like you know, like oh my gosh. See, that just shows how much like this series is, where like we can actually visualize this character, visualize the facial expression they have. And he's saying in his head, suspicious. Like suspicious. Oh my goodness. Okay, so book 3 is Play the Game. Megan, do you want to you want to do this one?
Sure. Okay, so Play the Game. Let's see. Play the Game starts out with, well, we finally get to meet Illy, because the jackal has taken Lips from Hannaford. So, you know, quickly she gets out of that situation. We're introduced to the butcher. Harley's with them. So it kind of, that book starts out with them during the summer and getting, I think this is the book where we really get more of the wolf. We get more, this is the book where the wolf and Lips kind of emerge, and we get more information on the 12 and the overall plot and the workings of the Bay. So I really love that we get that. We get the whole summer, she's there, she's working, and each guy kind of trickles in. And then we get the birthday. I know we'll talk more about that. But so we get, you know, they're in the Bay. We learn a little bit more about them. The boys learn more. They also learn she's a virgin. Oh, I love those scenes. And then once we're in Hannaford, yeah, I mean, it's basically they're together. They're officially together. You know, they declare their love for her to the whole school. They're a unit at this point, and they're dealing with the trouble not just at the school but at the Bay. Like the jackal's a real threat. The jackal's after them, especially Harley. You know, she's inducting people. Yeah. Play the game is they're playing the game now.
Playing the game.
Yep. Yeah.
We're and you know, seniors coming into play. It's more than the school, it's more than the falling in love. We're a unit now, and we are facing all this turmoil together.
I feel like the heads arrive in this book, and I love the heads. I love the mystery of the heads, and I love Illy and his sense of humor with the heads. Like there's a scene where he delivers boxes, and on the box he writes "not heads."
That's literally on shirt.
And I think I loved that I couldn't figure out who was sending the heads.
Oh yeah.
Like usually most books you kind of get like hints and bits and pieces, and you can kind of like, I did not know she had that coming. Like no. I could not, like, I mean, it's because he wasn't introduced, and like we had no idea about her family, like outside of you know, her mom who was dead. So it's like I loved that, like, there was like this whole guessing game, because like there was like a character and I'm like, are they sending the heads? Like, who's sending the heads?
Do we find out about Nate in this book or the last book? I can't remember.
It's the last book.
Okay, so like we're starting to figure out her family.
I think the devil is mentioned, or is that what is he called?
He
the
might
devil?
Be mentioned in this one, and she's talking devil. To the boar, because Avery has that hunch, right? In this one, I can't see. This is when they start, when the game, like when they're playing the game, literally in the next two books. Like I feel like it starts to blur together what's in what book. But I have to say,
the end where it starts suspecting the boar is to the end.
Okay, but like Illy, I feel like is just my absolutely favorite friend of hers from the Bay.
Mhm.
Obviously, he's like the only one. But like when he shows up and Harley's with her,
Mhm.
and he's just like, again, he's just like, you know, here's my girl hugging, and like he's like a brother, like he's just like to the butcher of the Bay, like he's like,
I
that's the
know.
butcher of the Bay.
Like,
with
what
her.
have I gotten myself into? Like,
Reputation
my girl is
precedes
best
him.
friends with like the most notorious killer in the Bay.
And I forget who it is. One of the guys was saying that they liked him, and it might be Blaze, it might be Ash. I don't think it was Harley.
I think it was Ash that kind of like, he was like, I like this guy.
He was
right?
okay with it because he's like, hey, he's stabbing people for her without question.
He's another set of eyes on her, like that, like, and then he doesn't want to be with her. Like, he's got
he treats
Odie
her
already.
like
So it's
a
like,
sister. Yeah, like
he
I
was
was
a
like,
non-threat.
yeah.
I think Harley gets won to him pretty fast though. Like Harley in the butcher, like he at first he protests, but then like after a while he starts liking him and they become like besties.
Because Harley gets to go to the meetings for the 12 now. And so he gets to witness Illy protect her. And like they all go to the club, and Illy stabbed somebody who disrespected
bouncer,
her.
right?
The
He
bouncer.
just, like,
yeah.
Mhm.
Or Avery. They disrespected somebody, and he just like, you know, deal with it. And you know, and then that's when Lips looks at everybody and she's like, so this is Illy, he's a treasure. It's like, he is. I love him so much.
I loved the dynamic with him. Like, he kind of just brought like a whole different like vibe to it, you know. He was like a fun murdering older brother character.
Yeah.
And that's great.
I liked this book too, because I think this is when we get more of a understanding of where Illy, or from Lips, how she met the jackal, how she met Mateo, how she met Illy, how they were in the foster care system together. And so that's kind of pieced together how like they all ended up together at some point. And how she stayed, you know, on Illy's team. We don't know everything that happened between like on Illy's side of like his story and stuff, but we do know that like she pulled through for him, and like, and that's why he's like indebted to her forever in his eyes, you know. So I love that. I love that they have that like connection, and that he's like will do anything for her, you know. And she'll do anything for him too, and Odie. So I love that like Odie shows up. Is this the one where they do the parent? Gosh, I'm sorry, everybody.
I think this is the one where they have the family night or whatever, and Illy and Odie both come. And I loved that scene. Like, I love Odie. I think she's like one of my she's like my top like side character-ish favorite. Like, she just has like such an energy, and she's like such this like beautiful like woman. She's like, get their hearts for me.
Yeah, my monster.
I love that. Then that scene, they're just the fish out of water. Like, what is this stuff that we're eating? Like
foam.
They're so fun. And they're dealing with like Blaze's terrible parents. It's just like hilarious.
It is.
I love that they're inducted too. You know, that like that's why Illy comes. Like, he needs, you know, he killed one of the 12, and she needs and I think that kind of brings her more back into not just hiding at Hannaford, but like actually playing the game, which I think is really critical.
Yeah, it is. I love that the guys also are finally like, no, we're not gonna let the jackal dictate our lives. And I mean, so first she does her whole like practice dance before going off of Harley to like the club to deal with something. Then she's at the nightclub with the whole group, and that whole scene of them like going down on her in the middle of the dance floor happens, and the jackal sees, and I'm like, that was basically them going to war. Like,
that was like a boss move too. It's like no fear. Like, it was like just such like a stance. Like, they were like, we're going for it now.
And like they didn't, no choice on Lips's end, really. It was just like, we're doing this, we're done waiting for him to be gone for us to be with our girl. And I liked that.
I feel like that said a lot. Like, I mean, he's scary, you know.
He's crazy.
Yeah.
Well, and I find it hilarious that they always call that Blaze always calls back to it because he missed it. So like forever, like in the rest of the series, he's always like, I don't want to miss that. I don't want to miss that. I love callbacks like that. Like it's just that scene set this standard for Blaze being so scared of missing
for like
out
the sharing protocols.
Yeah.
Like there was like one and he was like, Ash was like, what rules, dickhead, or something. Like he was like, that's against the rules, and they're like there's no rules.
Yeah, he made up a bunch of rules in his head.
The guys are so funny together too. It's just hilarious.
But I love how they're funny, but then I love like there's at the house during the summer, and this is Lip's birthday, and it's her birthday, and so like no one's like Avery knows that Lips doesn't do her Christmas and she doesn't do her birthday, and so like, you know, poor Harley's like alone with her, and he's like trying to get her to get up and trying to talk to her, and it's like, babe, just like come eat for me, and she like won't respond, and he's like calling, you know, in like, so everyone shows up, and you know, it's finally like, I just love how Ash just like barges in and is like, go away, I got it. Because Ash understands that. And it's so funny because you would almost think Harley would understand growing up in Mount Spey, but like Ash just understands like the family, Lips, you know, mom and everything, and that how that day could be a hard day for her. And so how, you know, he just lays in bed and he's like, you know what, I'm gonna tell you all the dirty things I'm gonna do to you when you feel better, you know.
And we'll not exist together.
Yes, that is such a classic line. But we like not existing. I've seen a lot of people kind of try to imitate that in books before, because I think that's just such a classic scene and a classic line. It's beautiful, really.
It is, because sometimes that's what we need. We just need to just not be. We just need to lay there. We need to just.
And I think Ash was the only one that was gonna understand that. Like Harley, he just like, he's a fixer. Blaze, he's kind of like Blaze. Like I feel like he'll write a song about it, but it's like Ash was the only one who would understand like being nothing together.
Yeah. And, you know, I feel like this book, we really get more of Ash because it did, the last book, Ash, it took him a little longer to warm up. So I think we get more of an understanding of, well, Ash's bloodlust, you know, where he comes from, all the crap that he was put through at the hands of Joey and Senior. And I feel like we get more of their connection and how they really make so much sense together. And I don't think, you know, you realize, I mean, you see the chemistry in the previous book, but I don't think you get just how similar they are with the blood and with being able to kill. They have this like understanding with each other. Yeah. And I don't know, I just love it. Their relationship in this book is so great. And I really fell for Ash.
I know.
Yeah. And I feel like I love getting more of Lips too, though, because this is one where, you know, she's on the job and Harley shows up and then she pretends to like give him a blowjob so she doesn't get made. And then is this the one where Avery goes on the job and she leaves her at the bar so she can go kill the guy in the bathroom?
I think so. I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
So that's this one.
Yeah. So it's like we get to see like the things, like the connections she's made with like the other members and like other people. So she can, and like no one, it's so funny because like they still don't know. Like people, like her identity is still like protected, you know, like I just love how she's just so good at just, you know, getting in and getting out. No one suspects the little 16-year-old to be an assassin.
I mean, who would expect that, I guess.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah.
Black light tattoo. That like, I love that.
Is this the one where all the guys get the tattoo also? Or is that into the end? I love when they get the tattoos. I don't know if it's this one or...
I don't remember.
Now I can't remember when they get the tattoos either.
It's either like towards the end of this one or the beginning of To the End. I don't remember which one, but it's coming up. And
I love that Avery gets a tiny one too, right? Yeah. Sorry,
and then we get more. This is our introduction to Atticus too. Avery's talking to, you know, a guy, and then I suspected. I don't know if anyone else suspected, but I do remember this. I remember thinking, okay, Atticus is the Crow. Like I knew that.
Oh, you did?
I did. I remember knowing that.
I feel like I knew he was going to be connected to Lips somehow, but I wasn't sure like what the connection was going to be.
Yeah.
I think it was book 2 where she met with him. And like Ash went,
protect
and Ash,
them,
and Ash went. I had no, something had told me. Just sometimes when characters are emphasized, there were little clues. I was proud of myself that I knew that one.
Yeah, that's good.
I was very excited for it. That whole meeting in the elevator, and like poor Avery's like, she's just like heartbroken. And then like he just goes about it the wrong way, which is totally the Crow like trying to buy her, which is like the worst thing to do.
That's literally the worst thing he could have done.
Avery. He should know better.
But like I guess like that's like his go-to mechanism for fixing things, is he's like, I can buy my way out of anything. And he like grew up rich. So it's like, he was like, I built this whole empire, like I'm using it for so that's like, I think like, because like I think in Avery's books, he's like, I built this for her. So it's like he was just, that was like his setup. I mean, he was stupid, but like I feel like he was setting it up all along to like use it to get the girl. So it's like that's what he thought he was doing. Avery didn't like it, but he was planning on this the whole time.
And I think he panicked a little at that point when all that went down, but that was like,
and he didn't know like how Lips felt about Avery, that she was like willing to die for her and treat her. So it's like he was trying to get Avery away from Lips, it seemed like. So he was just trying to like do anything in his power to like separate them, because he didn't understand the dynamic of their friendship and their family.
True. Well, he gets it. He'll get it.
He gets it eventually. They all do.
Yeah, he starts getting it.
Yeah.
So that gives us even more insight into like the 12 and the whole setup. So this really is that transitional book from like, well, they still have the school drama, and the school drama is still intertwined, but
Annabelle, right? Is this the one where Annabelle?
Is this the one? Yeah, this is the one where
Annabelle tries to,
where she drugs Harley.
She drugs Harley,
and Harley almost dies. And she's like,
that's what leads
like
the Lips eventually sleeping with Harley first, right?
Which I think is perfect. That was kind of meant to be.
I think it was meant for it to be Harley to be the first, just because he was the first
to fall in love with her.
It just was the progression of things. I think it worked.
And it makes sense that Ash was the third, considering all things.
It's so funny how scared she was, and Ash was so patient with her. Like he just knew that she was scared to sleep with him, and he was just good about it. Like I really I love that about it.
Oh, I love Ash. Is this the one where he fights in the cage, or is that the next book? It might be the next one, because you remember Blaze is like high and he thinks he's
I'm pretty sure it's book 4.
Okay, so let's go to that. To the end, book 4. So it's basically the end where we wrap up most of like the drama with the 12 solutions about the Jackal family. All the family stuff kind of comes to an end too, with like Blaze's family, Lips's family gets revealed a little bit more, and even like the Beaumonts.
The Beaumonts get handled.
Which that can I like jump to the end of like that?
No, let's jump. Like, that's like my favorite, like how like Lips handled Ash's biggest problem and Ash handled Lips's biggest problem. Like that was so like, if anything was gonna make Ash my favorite character, that would have made Ash my favorite character. Like it was like so perfect, so poetic. It was a cinematic masterpiece.
It was. The phone call too, the phone call with Ash and Lips, where he's like, kind of begging her to come back. He's so worried because she's going to Senior's house. I agree. Oh, it was so poetic that they handled each other's, and that's the sex scene where he's like trying to get the information from her about
I love that scene. And I love how he remembered every word of it. Like that was like, I wouldn't have wanted it to be Harley or Blaze that was like killing the Jackal. Like I would have never like I feel like Ash doing it was the only one that made sense.
Yeah.
And like that sex scene was like, and then it's just like because I didn't even remember that happened when they were in the Jack. I was like, who's gonna comfort her? And then I was like, oh my God, he remembered every single word.
Yeah. I did.
And he remembered everything in the file and did every single thing that the Jackal did to Lips to the Jack. I was like, that was
Oh my God. It was perfect. Just because, and with Ash too, because Ash had to watch his father and Joey do all those horrible things to those women. So like he's the one that finally used that bad for good and took care of that problem for his woman.
He showed everyone how Beaumont he really was.
Yes, he channeled it. I love that. You're right, because they hated women so much, and he did not want to be that. He wanted to save his sister, and he wanted to save Lips, and that was his biggest worry. Like he could imagine her on that table, and like I loved that, you know, he remembered everything from the file.
That like
romantic. That's what a romantic gesture.
Seriously.
It's so I love it when
they save each other. They do. They save each other.
They do. Because that's like Lips gets out of the hospital and she goes, you know, to the mansion. No, she's not in the hospital yet. She goes to the mansion. She sneaks out. And she goes to, because she's going to take care of this for
But she is
I love
injured.
that phone call. How
she is injured still.
And he's like, please don't go. And, you know, because he's like, he knows what his father is capable of. He knows, you know, and she's like, no, I'm going to do this for you. And that's when Nate comes into play.
And I was so confused because they were like, there's blood everywhere, everyone is dead, and I'm like, what the hell is going on? Like, it was like a biggest, and Lips was like, I'm looking in a mirror, like these eyes look just like my, like I did not see that coming whatsoever. So it was like it's like the plot twist of the whole series, I think, like the biggest one.
Yeah, and then Illy was there too, which made it even more confusing because like Illy runs into Nate and Nate being there. So yeah, it was definitely
because she calls Illy first, and Illy immediately calls the guys. He was like, "Girl, you crazy? Like we're calling these boys."
He was smart. Yeah. Oh, but poetically beautiful.
It is beautiful, and there's actually a quote from the other book. But there's a scene where I think it's Blaze is telling Harley and Lips, and he's like, "You two flirt like fucking serial killers." It's hilarious. That quote. And it kind of goes with this too, because it's like,
when they were like, I think it was in Play the Game where they're like, "What are we doing? Exchanging psychotic tendencies now?" It was like that. Like there was just so many like making murder like light humor jokes, and I was like, I think that was like they were good.
They were really good. Yeah.
And we know this series started the whole pig thing. Like whenever you see like characters disposing bodies with pigs, it never happened that I know of in books until this series. They started the pig trend. Benny's pig farm.
And I love that Blaze was the one to go with her because he was like the most green as far as murders go. So it's like he's like, this is our gang life or whatever. Shoots him in the head. I was like, oh, so sweet.
Yeah, like he was willing. Evidently, he has helped Ash or murdered for Ash.
And I think
still
that's
don't know
like
about.
the
we
part
still
of
don't
the
know
tour.
that. I know.
If we don't find, because I thought we were gonna find it out and make my move, and then we didn't. So it's like I was like, so now I need the tour book because I need to find out who Blaze has killed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, because they said his hands are. There's blood even on Blaze. Somebody in Make My Move says there's even blood on Blaze's hand.
Yeah, I think because he did something, he killed somebody for Ash, but like I'm sure it's like something having to do with Senior, but like I feel like there is more to the story than it just being like a casual murder.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The way it's like emphasized.
Yeah. But I loved how I love the pig farm. I love him like because like Blaze out of everybody is the more innocent. In everything, I feel like, and he was always kind of complaining when it came to like cleanups and stuff. He was always grossed out, like by putting people in like
he was nearly as grossed out as Avery was.
He was always like,
and then like the whole like scene where they're like going through the Jackal's lair and he's like shooting people left and right, and I'm like, oh, they've been practicing.
Well, yeah, because Illy
taught them some tricks,
and that I love that he's like your family now, and we're gonna get you guys ready for this because they knew they were going to war.
Was it Blaze who said, or does this make us a gang or something?
Yeah, he's like, we're a gang now.
Where they have like the little wolf bandanas. They're like, he's like, and then they were sad because Avery was missing at the time when they pulled out the bandanas, and I was like, that would be an Avery thing to do is get matching wolf bandanas.
Right? It'd be like designer.
Gucci bandanas.
I I mean, obviously I feel for Avery getting kidnapped and everything, but that's when we meet Aiden.
I think it was like an important.
We meet Aiden in the very beginning of the book
At the game.
when he wins the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And when he
But then he
shoots his
shoots
uncle.
Yes.
Loved it.
I knew I loved him the second he did that,
Mhm.
and he was like with Harley, like being like, "Hey, we're cousins. I don't want to be against you." Like I was like, "Oh, I love you."
And then like when he like, I mean, he kind of just like went out on his own to find. She was, you know, like Avery was missing, and he just took it upon himself to like follow her into the Jackal's lair. Like that's why I feel like he was a better match for Avery than Atticus was, because he kind of like always was willing to let her stand on her own 2 feet with it. Or like, you know, he was willing to die for her like from the jump. So I was like, I think that's why he was my favorite for her.
Same. There's just something about Aiden, like even before we knew in that I love him so much. I don't want to get off topic, but oh my God, Aiden's just such a dream boyfriend. Oh my God.
I know.
The stag, even his name being the stag. I don't know. There's something very like,
right? Like, no.
Yeah, I don't know. There's just something hot about him being the stag. I don't know.
He has
the sexiest 12th name for sure.
He does.
Yeah. I'm like,
because I keep thinking about like if I was in the 12, what would my name be? And I'm like, I can't come up with anything awesome because like I love like crocodiles, and I'm like they lurk around and then they're deadly. So I'm like, would I be an assassin? But then what am I going to be called? The croc? Like that's not,
it doesn't flow off the tongue as good as like the wolf or the
gator.
Stag.
I don't want to be the gator. That doesn't sound very flattering.
I know, and I like cute animals, so I'm like, I can't be a red panda.
I mean, you could.
Nobody would take me seriously though, so maybe that would be like my, you know, my thing is that nobody takes me serious as the red panda.
Right.
That would be really funny, actually. I like that. Oh God, mine's so basic, like the cat, like it's basic, but it could work. I mean, but it's a little Batman, you know what I mean? So I don't know.
The bat would be okay, I guess.
You could be.
Yeah, it could be like something cool, like a falcon, but I don't want to be.
I don't want to be a bird.
Right? Like when you think of a cool name, you're like, yeah, but I don't want to be that.
Yeah, exactly. Like
I'll be the dolphin. I just do the docks.
Like the crow. Like I feel like that was kind of a badass name, but it's also like I don't like crows. I don't even like birds. So it's just
right.
Picking your 12 name is so hard. And it's like you have to pick it in the moment. So it's like Libs was
you're
like,
already
I guess
like adrenaline rush, like frenzy. You're like, I just survived this fucking game, and now I have to pick my name for life in this like organization.
I know. Yeah. And mine would be like the first animal that pops in my head, and it would inevitably be stupid.
Yeah.
I know what Sarah's would be the dragon.
I'm the dragon.
That's an inside joke.
Is it because of the bonds?
It's because of bonds, which at least it pairs with Avery.
Yeah.
No, I think I'd probably end up being the croc because I like crocodiles so much. Like it would just be like,
I mean, it sounds kind of scary, the croc. Like
yeah.
I don't know.
The snake would be a good one.
I mean, I really like hippos too, and those are pretty deadly. But again, I don't want to be the hippo.
Like I was like thinking like the cheetah, but I'm literally the slowest runner on the planet. So it's like I just need to think about it more. I think about it all the time.
Right?
I really do think cat is good because cats sleep a lot. You know, when they're on, they're on. But when they're not, they're not. Like, you know.
Yeah.
I feel like the cat could work.
We gotta like pick like a big cat, like be a lion or like,
a jaguar.
Predator cat.
I'm more of a house cat though. Okay, maybe like what's that one cat that's like wild but small, like
Bobcat?
Bobcat. I'll be Bob. The Bob. I'll be Bob.
You're Bob. That'd be awesome. Be like, go see Bob, and then like, know it's you. That would be great.
That's a really cool name. That's actually that'd be a cool name.
Yeah.
Like, I also like think about what would I specialize in a lot, and I'm like, I don't really like, I'm like a planner. And I'm like, would I just plan people's murders and then hire someone to do it? Like, would I be like a hitman
Well, you could be like
coordinator?
espionage.
Be
Yeah.
like Avery. I'd be like Avery, where
I
I'd be
think,
the
yeah.
one. I'd be
I
Avery.
thought she was gonna enter the game as well. I was like kind of
Yeah.
like in her books, like where there's like, but I was like, she's not ready for that. But I'm like, I thought like one of the guys or Avery was gonna enter for sure.
Yeah, like Ash or somebody, but I didn't want them to get.
I did.
Oh, that
I
was
didn't want
hard.
them
Okay,
to.
we're not gonna talk about Avery's books because I was
No, we gotta
upset.
save them. But
that was the upsetting. I mean, it was realistic, but so that in this book we find out that Luca, who's been working with the Jackal, was actually like a double agent thing.
I
going
loved
on.
that. It was such like a Crow thing to do, is like stick somebody inside of the Jackal's den for ages. Like he was there for years and years and years. And I was like, that's like, I guess because it's Avery thing to do. And I feel like Avery and the Crow are very similar in that way. So I was like, I loved when he turned and they're like, time to come home. And I was like, oh, Luca.
I love
I was worried he was going to enter the harem. So I was like, I was happy he wasn't going to enter the harem.
Yeah.
I think if anything, I would have seen, I thought maybe with Avery at first, I thought maybe he'll be, you know, but yeah, I didn't think
it was with Lips, but I thought he might. He liked to start shit with the guys. Like he saw that the guys were interested in Lips, and he just like started stuff to like get them all like up in arms and stuff. And I just kind of like that. Like
he was kind of just like a jokester, like
like because I think he had to like be, you know, I'm the Jackal's guy so much that like he just found little ways here and there to like
cause havoc.
Well, and part of me didn't trust him too. Like, you know, we're wondering about the heads and stuff. Part of me wondered like maybe he's psychotically in love with Lips too, you know. So back when I first read it, I did have like suspicions
weird vibes
about him. Yeah, but I'm glad it turned out to be. I love
that it ended up being Nate, and he was just going back to like everybody who ever did anything wrong to Lips and was just like off with their heads. And
like when he killed like the third grade teacher, I was like, my God, he's crazy, but I love it.
And then I love how Lips didn't like figure it out. And then like Illy was like, you know, she gave you detention. That was the day you met Mateo. And like, how does Nate know this? So like, that's still like, I need Nate's story because I'm like, how did he find out this? Like,
I mean, but he also was like, I mean, he went to the Coyote and like basically was like, you're gonna tell me her middle name. So it's like, I feel like he is so terrifying that he has his sources.
Yeah, I love the Coyote too.
I wish we would get like more than just like the little. I would love a Coyote book, and I love Viola. Like, I'm obsessed with her. I think she's so cool.
I love that too. They're very great side characters. So Jabri does that very well, where she writes, you know,
she does a side character well.
And then we also meet Poe. Posey.
I love Poe.
So we get to meet more of her extended family, which is exciting, in the hospital. And at first I was like, what's going on here? Like, what is this? And then I realized it was kind of setting up for the future. So that was really great.
And I love everyone's like immediate like protectiveness over Poe, and like how Harley was like willing to jump in and make I can't remember Poe's man. Rue, was that his name?
Rue, yeah.
Yeah, I loved that, like, you know, he like went out there with his arm around her shoulder and was like, yeah, we're gonna like, y'all literally just met. But it's like, I mean, it just shows like, I mean, I think the loyalty was the most lovable part about this series. So it's like, I think that kind of like it was a cute little scene to me.
It was, I love it. I love the setup, and I'm hoping we do get more of the world with like Poe's book or Nate's book, and then we get a little bit of Angel Unseen. Like I like those little glimpses of everything, and then of course like Vance tour. I need
ready.
I need that. I need Lips and Blaze together, and I need to find out what happened with that tour bus. If you read Avery's story, you will like kind of know what that whole dead body on the bus thing.
Yeah.
Like what happened there.
And I like all the little stories that we missed where it like alluded to something and we never got like the background of it. Like, I think that's going to be the best part about the tour book, is kind of like filling in the blanks that we still have. So and Poe comes on tour, so
that'll be weeks.
Can't wait for that.
Yeah, I'm excited. I love this series so much, and like I know with the three of us, we've reread it and
Yeah.
everything.
Too many times to
And,
count.
I mean,
Yeah.
I have so many quotes highlighted, and it's like,
Right.
yeah.
It's the ultimate found family
Mhm.
It really
theory.
is. It really is. And it's
High
just so funny because
school.
I think about each book and there's always just like that one scene. Like even this one, I'm like, it's like you said, like it's the vault for me, the mansion, and that phone call between them.
Mhm.
Like it's like the like
Defining moment.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. So good.
We're Mounties for life. We're all Mounties for life. For
We
sure.
I
are.
know, seriously.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well, and then thank you, Bree, for joining us and talking
Yeah.
with us. And I
Yeah,
just
thank
love
you
your
for
post.
having me. I'm so excited. Also, happy birthday to Lips.
Yeah. Happy birthday. I know she
Happy
doesn't
birthday, Emily.
like her birthday, but
But she's the reason for this obsession, so we have to
Yes.
celebrate her even if she hates it.
yeah, very true.
With French toast, obviously.
Oh yeah.
With sprinkles.
With sprinkles.
And every Christmas too.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great question. So there's like the debate
Mhm.
between Harley and Lips on The Nightmare Before Christmas, if it's a Christmas movie or a Halloween movie.
Oh.
And like I love it because in the book, like in Make Your Move, she's like, you know, one of us thinks it's a
Christmas or a Halloween movie and the other one is wrong.
and the
And then-
the other one he's like thinks it's a Christmas movie and the other one is wrong.
Mhm.
So
It's
like
definitely Halloween, by the way. If I had to pick, Halloween.
Why choose?
That's true. That's true.
it is one of those where I feel like it could go either way. I always watched it more during Halloween.
Yeah, that's what I'm like. It's like when I go through like my little like 13 days of Halloween or whatever, like that's always on the list, but I don't as much watch it for Christmas.
Yeah. Very true. I think it would be a good Thanksgiving movie because
Yeah, like a good
like
in between.
In between.
it's an in between. Why choose a Thanksgiving?
Mhm.
oh my goodness. Okay. Well, thank you everybody for joining us for Hannaford Prep Talk. Super excited too. We're kind of celebrating Lips' birthday with it, and we're looking forward to more, hopefully, in the world. And we will see you next time on the Book Open. Bye.
Bye everyone.
Bye.